The hidden secrets of the world, everything that we cannot access, everything that we cannot understand, produces immeasurable fear, because our mind is able to take us to the darkest moors in search of answers to events that simply cannot be explained. That's why today I invite you to see 5 unexplained cases. Videos that manage to capture moments that, no matter how much you analyze, you can never find an explanation that does not take you to that dark alley in your mind. Enter the purest darkness with me and let your mind get lost in the deepest fear. Turn off the lights, get hold of your seat and follow my voice, because you're about to enter the evil zone. Case 5. The Wandering Ghost. By living in a society that remains absorbed in its activities, we lose sight of everything that is happening around us. And it is right there when technology plays a fundamental role, since it is capable of capturing things that will otherwise go unnoticed. The problem with this is that sometimes some of the things are not exactly what we would expect to see. Precisely, that is what this disturbing video proves, in which we can see something so disturbing and dark. Can you see the strange phantasmagoric figure that moves erratically throughout this wasteland? It is extremely disturbing, isn't it? If that's what you think, it's because you still don't know the story behind this tape. This video was captured by a security camera of a residence. One night, the neighbors of that place decided to leave the camera pointing to the yard of the next house, because at night, they used to hear chilling noises. The surprise came when they saw the video the next morning. The horror touches every fiber of their beings, knowing that the house was abandoned and that the last person who was there died in that yard of a heart attack, which will explain the erratic movement of the person that we see in the video, like the incessant walk of an entity in search of something, its life, the one that lost without even knowing it. This is the manifestation of a soul that will travel this place forever, being unaware that it's no longer alive. Case 4. The Relentless Pursuit. There are several cases similar to the one in position 5, but few are so uncomfortable and disturbing as this. What we'll see next is a perfect example of how sometimes when we die, we are still tied to everything we were in life. And it's here when we can see not a shapeless figure that moves randomly. No. What we see in this video is the clear shape of a woman with a long dress. The same emerged from the deep darkness of the closest hall of a school and walked slowly towards the classroom. Everything becomes more horrifying when you realize that maybe this is the soul in pain of a teacher who, in the past, died in that institution, and the same, even after death, walks in a loop to fulfill her life mission, the one that her spirit insists on keeping, although she is no longer among us. Case 3. Out of Nowhere. Both the inexplicable and the paranormal are usually closely linked by a particularity, and that is the thin gap that opens the possibility to the unknown. I want you to pay attention to what we are about to see, since it's not easy to understand what I'm about to show you. This video was captured by the security camera of a vehicle on the road. In front of them it was going a huge red truck, which, while passing, makes an abrupt mash, and if it's trying to dodge something, but in front of it there was nothing, or that could be thought in seconds after this movement. Behind that vehicle, out of nowhere, a person appears, who slowly walks until they reach the other street. Where did this person appear from? It is the most obvious question, but other questions arise from it. Questions that, the more we analyze it, more they change the initial perception of the video. Let's think for a moment. Was the movement of the truck to dodge it? If so, this person was crossed by the truck, and we could talk about a ghost. But in daylight, this is almost impossible, which makes us wonder, who or what is this being that appears out of nowhere and so quietly goes to the end of the street after being virtually crossed by a truck? And yes, are we facing the reliable proof that this reality is not what we perceive it? And a camera was able to capture for the first time a failure in that reality? The questions are so many and the answers so few. We just have to imagine. But be careful, because sometimes the imagination can take you to dark corners in your mind, and sometimes you cannot escape. Case 2. Separated by the glass. Discretion is what I'm going to ask you from this point, since the material that you are about to see, along with position number 1, are extremely frightening. Initially, given the particularity of the video you are watching, you might think it is false. Let's think about it carefully. It is curious. It is curious how what seems to be a spooky entity appears behind the glass as soon as the boy in the video has closed the door. But from the first time has opened the door, we begin to notice that something is wrong. And even with the darkness, you can see that the place in question is, in fact, a closed sector. A few moments later, the boy is armed with courage to place his hand on the glass, and the entity responds by doing the same. And it is right here, when fear begins to invade your body after this. The boy takes his camera and enters the place, revealing when turning on the light that it was a closet. Once the lights turn on, we see that there is nowhere to enter or exit beside the main door. And with this, refuting our suspicion, the video is real. Behind that door was a terrifying floating entity that tries to make contact with the young man of the video through the glass. Case 1. The Damn Hole. Few cases can freeze your blood with that shocking recording. They leave you absorbed, trying to find the logic to what you just saw. Desperate, you will try to find an answer. Sometimes that proves that it's impossible. But in cases like the position number 1, the search is unsuccessful. No matter how much you try, you will fail, and sometimes you just have to accept with horror that the spiritual and demonic world moves between our world, and in some occasions, they end up crossing completely our side. Let me provide you with the necessary context. This video was recorded in the basement of a hospital. In there, two security guards listened to a disturbing sound of a constant pounding coming from the basement. Immediately, they go to the place to see what happens. What they will see is so shocking that immediately began to document it. In this video we can see how these two security guards approach to the source of the sun. Everything is becoming more and more terrifying, and it is that with just taking a few steps, you can begin to appreciate that the sound comes from a metal door in the background. Here, as in many cases, the really important thing is not what happened, but what is behind. An entity that we cannot observe has positioned itself in the dark hallway, and with a hatred that is transmitted with the force of every hit on the door, download a rage that transcends our plane. What we possibly see in this video is the denial of a person who has just died in that hospital. Someone who perhaps, a few floors up, has just lost his life and cannot accept it. His soul in sorrow, flooded with rage and pain, tries to get all the fury that harbors his soul, which, because of rage, will be corrupted more and more until it stops being a simple spirit and becomes a demon that is constantly lurking in a damn hallway. Ghosts, spirits or specters are real, and trying to look aside is useless. This being will continue to exist, whether you believe in them or not. That's why, no matter how skeptical you are, at some point, sooner rather than later, something will end up finding you, and looking you straight in the eye will send you directly to Evil Son. This video frightened you? Like, share and subscribe.